Cute little octopus with a thermal gel polish background by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you this octopus themed nail art design that I'm wearing right now. It's thermal as well, so I don't know how you guys can tell very much in the video, but it's pretty light at the moment, and that's because it's pretty warm outside where I am, so I'm a little bit on the warm side, so it's almost clear. Whereas if I was colder, you'll see in the little photos that it'll be really dark. It'll be a dark blue behind the octopus and then a pink and red gradient on my thumb and my pinky nail. So it's really fun. It's simple, glittery with an octopus, and there's some really cool studs and stuff on there that I like too. Just fun, something that I am going to an aquarium in a couple days, so I thought that'd be kind of fun to have an octopus and some shells on my nails. So I hope you guys like this, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well. So I'm going to begin on my index, middle, and ring nails, so those three right in the middle, and I'm going to be applying 2 layers of that blue gel polish, that blue thermal gel polish. So there's the first coat, there's the second coat, and I'm just going to be making sure that that is nice and covering good, which it does. It covers actually really good in 2 coats. And then I'm going to go through on just my middle nail with white paint, and I'm going to be painting the silhouette of my octopus. So I'm just going to add a layer of white on there just so that the colors that I'm using when I start doing the details are really going to show up nice and brightly and not have any of that thermal kind of sticking through. So there's the little head of him, and then the first 2 tentacles, I'm going to be having those go up around the nail like that, and then I'm going to be adding the rest of them coming down, and only 3 of them really did fit on this first nail, but I figure they kind of continue on to the next nail and I can add the last one on there. I didn't want to crowd it because I wanted them to all be nice and separated, so I figured that was pretty good. And so then I'm going to take pink paint and I'm going to be starting to cover him up. So I'm going to begin with just covering up his head and then going down that first layer of tentacles, the first set, or I guess you could say set, and then adding just like a red little shadow between the tentacles, so on the underside of each and then around the top of his head, just to kind of add a shadow. Now the red is a very subtle red. I didn't want it to be like, I want it to be more pink than it was red, so just a little bit blended in on there. So I'm going to be painting over the tentacles, going over them one by one with more of that pink and then adding that touch of red. And then just kind of blend it out. If you need to go back and forth between pink and red, it works out. And usually whenever I do a gel polish design, I would apply a layer of top coat over the top of the gel and then go and do the paint. But I felt this after it had cured, and it did have a tacky layer. It wasn't like a one-step that has nothing. But it wasn't too bad. It was pretty mild on the tack side. So I thought, well, I'm going to try it. And it's been about a week now, and there's been really no issues. So I would say you're safe to just go ahead and write and go straight to your design with this one. So after I have all of those finished and all of his tentacles filled in with the color, I'm going to begin outlining everything, pretty much everything. So with black paint that is ever so slightly diluted, just with water, I'm going to be outlining everything. And the reason I diluted it is because that's going to make the lines just easier to control and a little thinner, and it just is going to be an easier experience for you. So I always make sure I dilute my paint, and to dilute my paint, what I do is I dip my brush into black paint and then I dip the paint covered brush into water, and then I just kind of mix it slightly on my thumb or on my finger. And so then I also added his eyes, and then using a very small dotting tool and some white paint, I'm going to go through and just add a row of dots on the underside of each tentacle. So this is going to be in the red area of the tentacle. So you always kind of want to add the darker area on the underside and then add the bright white dots, and it's really going to show up and have a nice high contrast. Just like that, adding all those, bringing those up in. And then I'm going to be on my index and ring nail, so they're going to be opposite each other, but essentially the same thing. I'm going to be adding my 3 other tentacles. He only needs 3 on these nails because the 2 first ones are on the middle nail wrapping around his head. So there they are, the 3, and I just kind of layered them together so they fit in really nice. And then after that white has dried, I'm going to be doing the same thing, starting covering them with pink, blending some red in around the pink just to add that little bit of a shadow. And then I'm going to just continue to do that on all of them. Kind of think about it when you're adding the red line to make sure that you are adding it on the side that would be under him, on the underside of him. So on this one, it's on the outside. It's on the outside of all of them. So it's like for the index nail, it's towards the thumb, and on the ring nail, it's towards the pinky, if that makes sense. After you have all that, I'm going to go through and add all of his outlines on here with black paint. I would always recommend sort of taking your time with outlines and trying not to rush the process, but if you do have any instance, you can always grab your pink or red paint and touch up the lines if they get a little thick or a little crazy, because it happens, you know, it's definitely a learning curve to do those outlines. It's not my favorite thing ever. But then just add those dots and that nail is done. And then on my thumb and pinky, like I said, I'm going to be doing that red to pink thermal polish gradient. So there's the red, just brushing that halfway down my nail. And if you're curious as to why I haven't applied a base coat, I have either dipping powder on all of my nails, or I have polygel on all of them. So they all have some sort of enhancement pretty much on top of them. So I don't have to worry about adding a base coat. They're ready to go just as they are. So I put the red at the top, brushed it down, pink at the tip, brushed it up, cured it, and now I'm going to be applying a second coat of this. And all of these gel polishes have a relatively thick consistency, I would say. I definitely am used to ones that are a little thinner. They're more along the lines of Madame Glam's consistency. So I don't know if you guys have used that, then you kind of know how it is, but it cures really nice, it applies really nice, and it definitely looks nice. And the thermal part of it, really quick though, just took some clear builder gel, and then I'm just going to use that to attach my studs and my rhinestones on both my thumb and my pinky nail. The thermal is a little more sensitive than some other thermal things that I have used in the past. Usually when I have thermal stuff on my hands, it is always cold. It's always whatever color is cold. I never can get it to change to warm. But this has actually changed. It usually is somewhere between the warm and the cold color, which is interesting. My hands are always freezing. After you have all that design done, go ahead and apply a layer of gel top coat and cure it again. But I'm always cold, so my hands never get that warm color. But this is a little more sensitive, I guess you could say, or the hot temperature, you can get there without it being as hot as some other ones. So here you can see it changing. As you can see, it does change really well. And actually the pink and the red color, that very clear, slightly pink color is gorgeous. I love it. So I hope you guys like this, and don't forget to share recreations with me on Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!